Hi, this is Matthew here to talk about a really awesome Canadian series called Murdoch Mysteries. And Murdoch is Murdoch, by the way. It is very much a long-running series. It started in 2007 and is still going on now. We are in season 18 right now. In fact, at this recording time, I need to watch the new episode. I have not done so. They airs Monday nights. It started on a channel called City TV there. It went for 4 seasons. Then the company Rogers, who owns that channel, decided to cancel it. Well, I don't know what happened, but I don't know if they shopped it around or what, but the CBC said, oh, well, we'll take that on. We'll be glad to have that on our network. In season 5, that's when it started, and it's been there ever since. So I bet Rogers must be kicking themselves because they don't have it. Well, I think it was I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was 6, but regardless, I thought it was 4, but when it aired, but definitely it's still there to this day. I've watched all of it. It took me a while to catch up. This show is only described there that I know of, and I do VPN into Canada to watch it, as well as quite a few other CBC shows that are mostly detectives. One family series called Heartland I do watch there that's not detective, but most things I watch are either detective or police related for the most part. One sitcom I need to watch there. I've watched a few other things that were even some British stuff that were described there and not anywhere else at the time that I could find. So I use it quite a bit. And their channel itself is described. CBC does describe their channel on the app and website, which I don't usually see that, but it is there if it's available, which is quite a bit of the time. William Murdoch is a police constable. I think he's chief inspector, I think. He's a Catholic individual. So he does make the sign of the cross when people die and stuff, and that's come up as far as promoting him has been problematic because it starts in 1895. And I think just because of Christmas happening when they came back in January, we're after that. I assume we're in 1913 currently. It's not always easy to tell. It's very much a steampunk universe. He makes a lot of inventions in his police work that are not around technically. They've got some kind of two-way radios that aren't really a thing yet. He's made a lie detector. He's got some rudimentary cameras, that kind of thing. I mean, you had silent films, but like that you can set up and they work. Ways of recording interviews. I know records and things were around, but it was that kind of thing they really weren't used for. A lot of stuff like that. Cars have come into it very quickly. They come in fairly fast, as well as electricity, of course. It being in Toronto, it was one of those places that would have had that. And there's just been slowly, I think, more and more cars that have shown up. No one in the show seems to really own a car yet. They're either bicycling or using the carriages still. There have been some cars and a motorcycle or two. Murdoch has chased someone on a motorcycle at one point in the show. Things like that are happening. They weren't going to do anything about the Titanic. It hasn't even been mentioned. They do mention historical events occasionally. I've had to stop and go look those up because obviously not being from Canada, I don't always know events. So I will check to see, did that happen? And when was that? Okay. So we're in this year. And sometimes they'll, figure how long ago something happened, and that helps. But most of the time they don't really indicate what is happening. Music is kind of cool in it. Kind of has a neat score. He's the main guy, and then George Crabtree is kind of a, under him, and so is Henry Newsom, and other people like that. George Brackenreed is well, he was like over him. It's somebody else now. He's like moved on to like the main police, like over all the departments. He was on just this Station House 4, but he's been promoted and isn't in the show as much. And Crabtree this season has not appeared. I forget where he was going, but he was going somewhere. He hasn't been back yet. And Judy Ogden starts out as a coroner in the department. Murdoch later marries her. She's now just a regular doctor in the hospital. There have been 2 other coroners since her, both women. Actually, both have been African Americans after her. That's a pretty progressive, for the time, department and stuff going on. Lots of interesting things like that. This is a book series, but the books are nothing like the show. Very much more realistic, much harder people, rougher people, less money. Lots of interesting British slang I've never heard of. It was quite fun to read those. Everyone is very British. I think even accent-wise, they're much more Canadian accents, what we would call Canadian accents today, which I guess might not have been exactly right, but good show. I love it a lot. It's gotten, wasn't quite as maybe as good production-wise. It's gotten much better since CBC took over. I think the stories and stuff are much better. There is humor, there's drama, there's all kinds of stuff in it. They've had several Christmas episodes. The first few were really more like movies. Now they're just they work them as an episode. There have been some Halloween episodes, 2 related to each other. One was a dream. Another one was 3 not even remotely connected little stories. And some have just been on Halloween, but there wasn't one last season. For a while, they changed the intro for that too. It was kind of a cool. They didn't do that last time. The theme song did change this year. They've shortened it, changed it a bit. It had been the same for all other 17 seasons of the show until this year. I'm like, wow, what the heck? They shortened it. Lots of interesting cases. In fact, there's been some. Working with a guy in the CIA has come over into Canada with their version of the CIA, their head guy, person, Terrence Myers. I forget what the equivalent is there. I've now lost it, but so Terrence Myers has been on several times. There was an inventor guy that's been on several times. We've crossed paths with some famous people like Mark Twain. Thomas Edison has shown up. Like Calamity Jane, there was a Western review that went through there early on. Harry Houdini has come up. H.P. Lovecraft has shown up. Several other, I think, Canadian guys. The guy that invented basketball was in an episode. Lots of stuff like that. Little. Now it's other famous Canadians. The lady who wrote Anne of Green Gables has been in 2 episodes. One before as she was writing the book, and then one after. George Crabtree is a sci-fi writer also. So that's come up several times. He's had a few books published, and people have either enjoyed them or not enjoyed them, because science fiction at the time was pretty out there, but it's still fun to read some of that stuff. I wish he had been an author. I would have read his books, I think. There's lots of neat little things like that going on. Julian and William now have a kid, Susanna. They have a baby. There's lots of things like that have gone on. Some people have married off. There's a female reporter that's around. There's lots of people that have come to the show over the years. Fun little show. I really enjoy it. Definitely worth watching. The most complete place is Acorn TV, which is a subscription-based streaming service. It shows a lot of Canadian, but they have British, they have Australian, stuff in other languages. Not sure. They've got quite a bit on there. 18 has just started over there. I know it's been on Hulu. It's been on Netflix, Prime Video, I think, several others, but they are not current. They're season or 2 or 3 back. So your best bet is to get Acorn. They are the only one that seems to have it complete over here. Not described, of course. App's pretty usable. I have to say I use it quite a bit for their British show that runs over there. But yeah, it does work. But if you actually want the best experience, VPN into Canada and use CBC Gem. There's a free service. But I have paid a long time now for the commercial. There's a commercial free thing. You pay a little bit every month, and I have done that just because I've watched so many things, and the ads were getting in the way, and sometimes they wouldn't load right, which means the rest of the show wouldn't load right, and you'd have to go back in, and it just became a pain. So I had to do it that way. I only have the app because at one point it was available here for CBC, and then it went away, but it still stayed in my purchases, and I found out I could pull the app down. It does still update, even though the app is not in the store anymore. So I usually use that, but the website does work. You can use it on the website. It's very easy to do. It's much better. They revamped it a couple of years ago. It's been a much better experience, even on the web. Description is very easy to find. When you get signed out, though, it may turn off. So you might have to turn it back on if you want to go that route, but you don't have to pay for it. You definitely don't. It totally works for free if necessary. So if you have the means for a VPN, definitely I would watch it there, just because it's described all the way through. Now, I will say they're missing episode 1 of season 1, and I think it was season 1, episode 4 or something. There's 2 that are not there for some reason. Don't ask me why. But they're not. Don't know why. It's very weird. Like, the only 2 that are missing. I couldn't find a place to report that. If someone wants to report that, please let them know. They might be able to fix it, because I know they air on the channel all the time. And I'm very certain that they have all of the description tracks. I could be wrong. The schedule right now is not giving me up names and stuff. It's just generic descriptions of what's on that channel now on their website. It's been that way since the end of the year. And 24. I don't know what's going on there. But, yeah. And another advantage to the premium is you get the episodes a little early. So if you don't want to wait, if you want to catch them before they air, you can. You can catch them right as they're airing. It has to just air a little bit of the episode. Then you can go in and watch it on demand, or you can watch it on the channel, of course, because there is a description. I've not done that. I'm always watching other stuff when they're on. So I haven't done that. I was watching on demand after or right before sometimes. But yeah, because there's, since there's 2 times before Eastern, you can actually watch about 5 or 6 Central Time. And there's the show, if you can catch it that quickly. But it's been a lot earlier, too. Sometimes I've woken up in the morning, like on a weekend, and I can watch like something on Sunday. Just kind of depends. But yeah, it's a wonderful show. I really enjoy it. I hope it keeps going. I want them to get into the 20s. There was a show briefly called The Frankie Drake Mysteries. It only had 5 seasons. That George Crabtree appears on there. He's a pilot. He's retired. So apparently they're, at least in the TV shows, they're supposedly, and maybe in the same universe, because George Crabtree is there. And that's the only time we see anybody from Murdoch Mysteries. But Clearly they're in the same universe, not by the same teams even. I don't even think the author was the same in the books. The books are by Maureen Jennings, if you want to look those up somewhere. Some of them are on Bard. I don't think they all are. I was able to get a hold of the Canadian ones and read them that way. Through that library, I was able to get a hold of those books. I won't get into that right now, but that's how I read them. It's fun to have somebody from the country reading the book of the country that it's in. So, but fun stuff. Very enjoyable detective series. They always find the killers. There's even been a reoccurring villain for many episodes. Kept coming back. They just could not. He was be dead and he wasn't dead. It was quite a thing. A very elusive, creepy, frightening individual that eventually does die. But season after season after season, he keeps showing up and causing problems and getting in the way of things, and just, but lots of stuff goes on. It's a wonderful show. First few seasons are a little rough, but once you get past them, it really develops quite well. Very enjoyable series. I highly recommend it. Watching it somewhere. It is syndicated on stations. I think ours is. I think on last season now. I think it's on. What is that? Ovation. I think they're pretty current with it as well. If you have that channel on your cable or satellite subscription, I don't have it. I think my mom does. I can watch it there. I think I haven't watched their app in a long time, but they have the show there too. I think they have all of it, what they've shown. Might have to do some commercials, but that is another. Those are some other options, and it is shown locally syndicated all over the country. Ours is late at night now. It used to be in the afternoons, but it's much later. I don't know if it's popular. I don't know, but ours have moved it later. RCW here shows it in Springfield. I think it's on there. Because it was on like Sunday afternoons. Now it's kind of like, I don't know, 1, 2 in the morning on weekends. I think they have 2 episodes. I'm not real sure. I keep reading. I don't always see it listed. Sometimes I always see like one listing. But it is out there. It's really good. Also on anywhere you can buy digital things. Physical media is of course out there. Give the show a look. I really enjoy it. I highly recommend. Can't say enough about it. Honestly, it's a really good show that I feel more people should watch. There's a lot of good stuff out of Canada. I'm finding lots of good shows, especially on the CBC, but other networks too. Sight Unseen, for example, on CTV is on the CW here, but I'm watching it there because it's also described. It is described on the CW app. I don't know if season 1 is still on the app there. That's a different show entirely, but I may get into that later. Since there is a blind person on it, I might have to review it at some point. I might, but definitely go give Murdoch Mysteries a watch, and I think you'll be very happy with it. I will see you guys in another video.